Well, I was born at Wells, 1926, on the 10th of August, into a fishing family. All my uncles and my father and grandfather, he came from Sheringham, but all fishing, and that was why I had always a sense of feeling that when I left school I wanted to go to sea, which I did. I naturally joined the lifeboat when I was 18. I didn't go straight in the boat. You join as a launcher, and then at that particular time there was only 13 places for launchers and 7 in the boat. Well, that went on every time the maroons are fired. Naturally you get down the beach as quick as you can so you get a place in the boat, but I never did get a place in the boat because there was always somebody faster than me getting down the beach, because we never had no cars, we had a bike. And eventually I did go in the boat, and of course from there, you know, I went all through the war years and see quite a lot of activity out here. And I've had the Cecil Pine, which is the twin screw boat, and the Lucy Livers, what we've been talking about. And then from there, 1965, or 1960, I took over coxswain from my uncle. And 1965, the Oakley lifeboat arrived, and there's quite a few trips we had, you know, very bad.
Well, I was born at Walsingham, that's just inland from it. I was born in 1942, and I obviously went to school and then to college at King's Lynn, and then into the Air Force on V-bombers. I'd done my time, I came out of there and went to sprat fishing. We used to fish for sprats here in those days, and then in the summer we'd fish for skate and any other fish that we could get. And of course it's natural that you join the lifeboat, you know what I mean? And as David said, I joined in 1962. You join as a launcher. Of course, the lifeboat in those days, they had a set crew, and then unless one of those didn't go, then a reserve would step into that place. But that was always the same. And if they came and you were in the boat, then you got out and let them get in. And of course David was coxswain when I was first joined up, and that was about the time that the inshore boat came here as well. We had one of the first inshore boats, and it was by the time I got on the crew, it was a more or less the Ernest Tom Nethercoat came. I was there while the Lucy Livers was there and the Cecil Payne, but I wasn't a designated crew member then. I was waiting. And I can remember this, obviously the Ernest Tom coming. And my first thoughts on seeing that, it didn't look stable. There was too much out of the water.
So tell us about the Ernest Tom. What was that?
Well, that was the Oakley that came.
The Oakley.
See, we were used to the old type boats, the Liverpools. I mean, they were in the water, and my God, they looked like lifeboats. But the first impression, David, when the Ernest Tom come, she looked top heavy.
Yeah, we weren't quite happy,
you know, but she was a fantastic boat. Though,
how it turned out, she's a remarkable boat. I'll tell you a lot more about her as a time. And Graham can always tell you, sorry interrupting, but I mean, the last bad trip, we all said that the last trip we had was the worst one we had, but the really last one we had was in '79, 15th of February in the blizzard.
February the 15th, 79. And everywhere was cut off. Snow, ice, everything. And that morning, that was blowing a gale.
About
gale
half
of
past
wind.
10 it was.
What?
About half past
Yeah.
10 when the Maroons went up.
They went up and, well, that was a bit of a job. You thought, so, can't be someone in trouble. There can't be that many boats out there now because it had been blowing for a little bit. Anyhow, we went down there and obviously the coxswain, which was David, they're in discussion then with the Coast Guards and the ONSEC as to what would happen. And it was obviously a day for a big boat.
When I got down the boathouse that morning, ONSEC said, Cromer Coast Guards, was it Cromer Coast Guards at that time? That was, wasn't it? I want to have a word with you. So I got on the phone and said, we got a casualty here, a Romanian ship, about 17 miles northeast of Wells, and we request a launch because where she's lying, she's about 2 or 3 miles east of the Race Bank, which is a big bank of water out there, about 10 miles from Wells, and only about 4 or 5 fathom or less than that, but low water. Well, I said, well, you'd like us to launch, would you? Well, it's like this here. We got problems at Cromer because the doors are stove in, they can't launch. And Sheringham, the sea is right up the cliff and they can't get the boat out. I said, at the time I said, okay, we'll have a go. Will you? I said, well, we'll have a go, I said. And of course then put the phone down and I said to ONSEC, was a case at the time. Well, David more or less said this in that little book you've got. He put quite a bit of reading in about that. He wasn't too happy about us going. I said, well, we'll see what we can do. And seeing that Cromer can't do any good and Sheringham, we're the only one at the moment where we can try and do some good. I did know at the time Humber Lifeboat was also on a service, and one of the big boats. That was the big boat at Humber at that time. That's one of the big ones. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, and they couldn't do anything at the moment, so we launched. Had 8 crew, I think, and of course, if you remember, Graham, we had to turn back because one of the life jacks didn't have any boat, did we?
No.
No, I didn't like turn around and come back after life jack, but we did. Anyway, I said to my crew, I said, well, I'll tell you straight what I think about this day, especially where we got to go. It's not really a job for us. And they all agreed, well, let's go down the harbour and see what the sea is like. Okay, fair enough. I gave the benefit of the doubt to the crew. I wanted to go with a good crew, what they was all in the mind to go, you know. So we steamed out the harbour, and of course, it was about 2 hours after high water. And of course, with an easterly wind, sometimes when the sea goes away from the beach, the swell gradually go down a bit, you know. So it wasn't too bad at the harbour, but we decided to go. Set course to the northeast, always take the time, and of course we steamed off about 20 minutes, half hour once we met some really heavy weather. One huge sea swamped us, filled us right up. Of course, naturally it cleared quick. But what really happened was my thing, and I was going that in that sort of conditions. I was relying on the radar to find the casualty, right? On course. When we hit this sea, hit us, just knocked the radar for burden. And I remember saying to my second company, I was bucket it, just like that. I said, the only thing we can do, go off about 2.5 hours northeast, which I did.